Hi, welcome back to HBW-TV for part 3 of this video. When we talk about these different types of illnesses, I think a lot of people have become more and more educated on their differences. Unfortunately, when it comes to stress and anxiety, I think a lot of people still interchange these two terms. Could you clarify for our audience the difference between stress and anxiety?
Right, stress and anxiety. You see, stress is a collective term. Yeah. Now, if you look at stress, you need a certain amount of stress to be motivational and functional. If you don't have stress, you won't function. The fact that you need money, you need food, you need a roof over your head, it's that stress, but it's positive stress. So that makes you get up in the morning, function as a normal person. I'm sure given a choice, a lot of people wouldn't want to get out of bed in the morning at 6 o'clock to get ready to go to work. But a lot of us do. And you do get up thinking, God, another day to face in office, but I have to go. That's stress. So it's acceptable. Now, when it becomes abnormal and it tips the scale and you have problems because of that thinking. So there is positive stress and negative stress. Positive stress is very essential for you to be functional. Negative stress is when it loads up. Yeah. For example, you're making coffee, you spill, shirt stain. Right, fine, I'll get it in my step. You go change your shirt, you get out, you go down there, you find your car with one flat tire. So your stress is now mounting up. Okay, you call Grab car, it doesn't get your location. Now you're running half an hour late for a meeting, right? So it piles on. Then you get a call from your boss saying, where are you? And you're saying, I had this flat tire, I called Grab car, they haven't got the location, I'm on my way. You get in the Grab car, then you're in a traffic jam. Now you're not responsible for some of this. And you ring your boss again and say you're going to be late by another half an hour. And you get all kinds of expletives and you're always late and you get the shelling down the phone. Then you reach your destination, you find you forgot your wallet back home. You somehow manage, you call a friend, pay off the Grab car, go into office. And you find that gone past the interview time, some of your guests have left. There's a note on the table from your boss to say, see me in my office, which you know is not going to be pleasant. Then somebody calls you and says, your product has just been stopped by customs for export, whatever, depending on the job you do. So you see a mounting, escalating stress. And what happens is by lunchtime, you're literally trembling. Yeah? And you go down for lunch. You trip on the staircase. This is how the day unfolds, right? And this is the time when you really have that age to break down. Let's say you have some bad news to top it up. This is when you have a breakdown. Now, a lot of people can have this mounting stress, cumulative over time. And then all it needs for them to break down is, like I said earlier in the interview, dropping off a cup or a spoon, or spilling a coffee on your shirt. It's not that spilling of the coffee that causes the illness. Over a period of time, you have accumulated the stress. And then it's what we say phrasically, we phrase it like the straw that broke the camel's back. It's not a single straw, but the cumulative load, and all it takes is a straw eventually for a breakdown. So it's hard to determine what really is enough stress. But positive stress is there and negative stress is there. So the cumulative stress can have disastrous results.
So we know that at a certain point, when it gets too bad, that is when people start seeking help. But at what point in the beginning can we start to detect mental illnesses and maybe take a little bit of preventative measures from home?
I think the self-awareness, all of us function within a particular parameters, yeah? And for example, I need about 4 or 5 hours of sleep to be functional. And I carry out my duties, and I should be aware if I'm missing something frequently, that why is this happening to me? Like if I'm having too many small accidents, or I'm becoming angry too often, or if I'm not sleeping well, or if I'm doing something that's not me, then that should be the first flag. Or if somebody tells me, hey, you never used to do this before. What's wrong? Somebody flags it up to me. I shouldn't just be dismissive. I should take heed and explore, is this happening to me? And there's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all human beings. We all have thresholds of tolerance, and we should be aware of our own limitations and where we are beginning to lose it a bit. And I think that's the early point, self-awareness. Second part is where somebody is able to tell us. I mean, most of our close confidants will be able to say, or even family members, hey, you look tired, you haven't slept well, this has been going on for a week, why? Let's say your mom asks you that question, you shouldn't be dismissive. No, mom, I'm okay. And if somebody is able to notice it, they're making a point. Mm-hmm. And I think we should be aware of that. If we go beyond that threshold, I think it'll be too late and we will not be able to see for ourselves what is happening. It has to come from another party that we are not functioning as we should. We shouldn't wait for that to happen. Yeah. And I think this is where we are different from America in the sense that everybody has a psychiatrist. And it's a fashionable statement. Well, it's fashionable here to have hypertension or diabetes, but not tell anyone, I've got a psychiatrist friend or I have to see my psychiatrist. But I think if you take a bigger picture, I think having someone to talk about your problems in a neutral way is very essential for everybody. We do have our friendly psychiatrists who are usually our hairdressers or the auntie 3 doors away or a golf partner or somebody. They all function as psychiatrists in a way, like the bartender does for some people. Yeah. Hairdressers are good psychiatrists. You always find somebody to talk to. It's just that sometimes these people are giving opinions and not professional advice. Mm-hmm. And some of this advice could make the problem worse. Mm-hmm. So I think if you come to a point where you think you need advice and independent assessment, it's worthwhile having people identified to talk to. And you don't have to go far. Your family physician could be the first point of contact who will be neutral in the decision. I'm sure the family sees one doctor or one practice and they have known you for years. And they will be able to sort of talk through if this is a problem that needs to be addressed. I think that's the point.
How well, following up on that, how well do you think GPs are equipped to deal with mental health issues?
Well, if I use the NHS first and as an example where I have a lot of experience with, I think the general practitioners in the UK are very, very well versed. And in fact, they are well versed just not in psychiatry, but all areas of medicine. And they keep abreast of all developments and they serve quite well. In fact, they are able to identify, and in fact, as we say in most of mental health problems, we try talk therapy first. And there are counselors attached to their practice, so they are referred if they don't have enough time to deal themselves. And they're also the first point where depression is recognized, or for that matter, any kind of mental health problems. Now, most of these general practitioners can initiate treatment. And if they are controlled, they keep the patient to themselves. They do not get referred to the hospital. And they also know their limitations. And if they feel that their limitations are there, then they will not hesitate to ring through a referral. Because sometimes to see a psychiatrist in the UK, you have to wait for weeks. So in the meanwhile, they have initiated treatment. They then refer to the service and they are seen, and therefore it's kind of a seamless service. Now, I wouldn't say the same for our country because the general practitioners are not fixed. It's like 10 clinics in an area, right? Yeah. So if they don't get better with one clinic, they go to clinic B and clinic C, and there's this shopping of doctors. And in between, of course, we have a cultural overlay where most of these people will also seek traditional treatment. Mm-hmm. Again, there are a number of traditional healers, and there is traditional healer shopping as well. So the poor victim here, the patient or the person, is put through so many different kinds of treatment phases, and it's quite chaotic. So I would say it's not about whether anybody is able to deal with, but they cannot have continuity because of this disarray that happens in our society.